because there's so much disease now. There's so much suffering. So many people are in hospitals. So
Yeah.
many people, so many people have dementia, which is type 3 diabetes. Basically, dementia is you can remember, but you don't have access to your memory, right? Because of the sugar and all the different seed oils that actually we are fed. And the thing is, people don't realize it are going to suffer a lot because you can't really outrun these toxins. Do you know that in your bloodstream there is about a teaspoon of sugar circulating, glucose, let's call it, circulating in your blood? Now, that's only 1 teaspoon. If you have two teaspoons of sugar, which anyone has in a day, easily, doesn't even think about it, it's already becoming toxic. It's too much than you're supposed to have. Now, what happens if you don't have any sugar? Your body knows how to make sugar from protein and fat, which is called glucogenesis, neoglucogenesis. It's like a biological term, but your body can make tons of sugar from the fat you eat. It doesn't need more sugar.
Animal fat, not plant fat, or also plant fat.
Exactly, animal fat, but it's basically your own fat. It can take your own fat and make glucose. It's called glucose neogenesis. That's what it's called. Okay, so if you want to look up Dr. Bart Kay, he talks about it a lot. He makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. It's toxic to have more than 1 teaspoon, and just imagine just one slice of bread has about 5 teaspoons of sugar, and that's just bread. It's like you have it. You do a sandwich with whatever. It's toxic. Basically, it's toxic. It's very difficult for your body to get rid of it.
That's funny because in the Torah there's no sugar. It doesn't exist. It never existed. To make things sweet back then, we used to use I think yeah, and also dates. Maybe also, honey. I don't know. But you're more expert than me in that.
You gotta remember, in the old world, everything was seasonal. So you had olives once a year. You had wheat once a year. You had fruit once a year, whether it's winter fruit or summer fruit, doesn't matter. You had it once a year. And once you had it once a year, you were supposed to either preserve it, okay, or so you didn't have a lot of it, but what you always had to eat
animals
was animal-based products. It was always there for you to have. Winter, summer, spring, fall, doesn't matter. You had ruminant animals. You had any. So it's basically the preferred food.
We have also to precise that in Hebrew, the word animal is called haya. Or behema, if I don't mistake, it's like the animals that are closer to the human beings. But haya is the term for animals, and haya it's close to haim. Actually, a haya, what we call animals, is a life form, like it's something that's close to life. You understand? So that's important to notice that somehow what's living, it's an animal. A life form is an animal. It's not like something degrading. Actually, it's like something that elevates the thing into the level of something that gives life, something that's living, that belongs to life. You understand? So when you eat something,
also your body has, if you look at biological pathways, your body has a lot. It has a lot easier time to actually digest it. It's easier for the body to digest because your body is hot, and it basically boils it away, and you have your stomach is very acidic. It actually dismantles it. It breaks it up into the pieces that your body can use which is bioavailable. There's something that's a term in biology, which is what is bioavailable. And plants are 80% non-bioavailable and 20% available, whereas animal-based products are 80% available and 20% not available. So it's the other way around. It's the 80-20 rule. And the favor is for animal-based products like meat, cheese, eggs, fish, all that.
Everything which is animal byproducts, like that's amazing. Never I could have believed that fat and animal fat can be good for you. That was some mind blowing, and it makes sense when you analyze it. When you think about it, it makes sense, but it's still like mind blowing. Can you imagine like fat is good for you?
You know how the best way to explain this is like this. You have three types of fat. You have a fat. This is according to Dr. Gary Fettke. You have three kinds of fat. You have a fat which is liquid at room temperature, liquid at 4 degrees, which is just below freezing, and it's also liquid at freezing. And that is usually seed oils. Why? Because the oil has to travel from the roots up and down the stem, right? Even when it's cold, even when it's almost below zero. Now, then you have, and these are called polyunsaturated fats. Now you have another fat which comes from fruit, not from seeds, which is avocado, coconut, and olives. These are fruits. Now, this is at room temperature, it's liquid. At 4 degrees, refrigerator temperature, it becomes gel-like.
Yeah.
And when you freeze it, it freezes. Now, then you have, and these are mono unsaturated fats. Then you've got saturated fats, which are animal fats, which are solid at room temperature, hard when you don't freeze them when they're in the fridge when at 4 degrees, just below freezing, and they get super hard once you freeze them. So and the best way to describe this is just imagine that you go to a carpenter and you want to make a table, and for the analogy of that table is your cell, right? You've got to make a living cell, and a living cell is like a little city. It can take in food, it takes out trash, it makes energy. That's a live cell. So you've got a skin cell, you've got an eye cell, you've got a brain cell, and what feeds the cell is basically fat and protein, not carbs, right? Those things feed the cell. Now, when you think, I go to that carpenter and I say, don't make me a cell. The carpenter is, let's say, your body that has to make the cell, and the raw material is wood. So if you come to the carpenter with animal fat, because you need that animal fat to keep you alive, it's energy, right? It's bioenergy. So you tell them, listen, I've got this nice piece of wood. It's about 1 by 2. Make me a table. So he makes you a table, and he doesn't have a lot of waste, right? Doesn't have a lot of waste. He made that table, cut here, did that. Then you give him the fruit oil. And when you give him the fruit oil, you say, listen, I don't have a 1 by 2 piece. I have 3 pieces of about a half of meters, say. So that's all I have, but make me a table. So he says, you know what, I have to cut this and saw there, and I've got more waste. I've got more waste, and then I've got more waste at that table. Then you give him the seed oils. And when you give the carpenter the seed oils, what happens is You just give him a whole bunch of pieces, and he has to glue everything together and sand it and shape it and reshape it. And there's tons of garbage.
Small work, man,
to make
small work.
and that table is not
Gonna be as solid as
it's also bad. So the quality of your cells are basically a direct measurement of the fat and protein that you eat, the quality of the fat and protein that you eat. So that's how your body makes. That's why vegans are very sick, but not when they're young. When they're young, they're strong. Oh, I can do this, I can do that. But once they get older, they become very sick.
That's interesting. I never thought about it, because we saw people that are vegan, We know that's funny to notice that Hitler was actually vegan. Hitler was, he didn't eat. That's what they say they never ate any meat, anything like this. So that's and if eating only plants, influence your sanity and spirituality, well, Hitler is the best example for that.
Yeah. The best example of sanity and insanity. Another thing that the term like veganism comes from the Seventh-day Adventist Church, from Harvey Kellogg's, from the Kellogg, the cereal.
Yeah.
And basically they had this twisted idea that if you have meat, it makes you unpure, and it gives you all these animalistic desires. And they had all these. If you want to look up the Seventh-day Adventist Church, Harvey Kellogg, and you'll find out a lot about how they promoted veganism as a part of spirituality, and how the Seventh-day Adventist Church actually controls central health authorities.
You say they know, but I grew up into Adventist, movement when I was a kid. I grew up into Christianity, so I know perfectly that movement. And at the time, I was a kid, but I remember that food was a very big issue for them. They were like very careful about not eating this and that. And actually, meat, they were pushing to eat more like vegetables and fruits and things like that. I remember, but I never realized the extent of what they were like teaching, but I remember this. I remember that.
Yeah.
So that's that's interesting. So the main thing is that, again, it's for me what sticks in my mind in all you said is that actually, if you make a diet out of only animal products, like of course meat and milk, eggs, and all this, and fat is good. Fat is good for you somehow. So this is what was mind blowing for me in the beginning, and I tried it, and I'm doing it for like 7 days, and again I have a heart condition, and I feel much better. This is crazy. I don't get tired. You even told me that at one point. Also, you're not going to need glasses, reading glasses, something. Maybe that's what you experience.
You're actually going to reverse all the different symptoms that you have if you do it long enough. And I'll tell you, after doing it for about 10 months now, you don't want to not do it. You just become so, let's say, afraid of processed foods, just because you know what they're going to do to you, that you actually want to basically eat what.
So the thing is that just while you do this, maybe when you do the diet, because it might not be easy for everybody, because I know myself, when I have something in my head, if I decide to do something, I go all the way. So it doesn't matter. But I know that sometimes I would like a good orange juice that I like, all those things. But again, I believe that the best way to hold into that kind of diet is to learn more and more as you go on, because when you realize to what extent it can affect you, that's going to keep you, from falling. I believe that you have to understand what you believe in, and that's always the same thing. Also in religion and everything, I like to understand what I believe in. I don't like too much to believe, just believe. I don't like that. I'd rather to understand things, but Why not believe them?
You're supposed to actually go and check everything.
Just
No.
check, of course, double check. You know, we're gonna.
Anyone tells you. Don't believe anything that anyone tells you. Just
Yeah,
go
of course.
check it, experience, do it, think about it. I mean, don't ridicule everything, but basically fact check everything
Yeah, of
and
course.
do your.
And
your-
one of the best example in Judaism about what you said is it's written "Aselera Rav." That means make for yourself a rabbi, like a guide. So what does it mean? It doesn't say, it's not written just take for yourself like a rabbi, somebody that's going to teach you, someone that's going to guide you. No, make yourself a guide. So I'm going to just explain this. When you make something, that means you take things and you build something. So what does it mean to build yourself your own rabbi, your own guide? What does it mean? It means this. It means that if you see a man that's already known as to be like a rabbi or a guide that everybody accepts, do not accept him as a rabbi. Don't take it as granted that is a good guy for you. That means that you can make it your guide. How to do this? Test him. To try to ask him questions to know if he knows the answers. Try to be rude to him to see how he's going to react. Try to test him to the max. And when you'll see that he passed all the tests you put in front of him, then you can say you made yourself a rabbi. Then you can go after that guy because you prove to yourself that he's capable of being a guide for you. But don't take like already a guy that's already going to tell you, oh, I'm a guide, or and that's what they do, in science. Also, they present you people as, oh, this is the professor, like this that is a expert in this and that. But how do you know that? Why do you accept that? Who's that guy? You don't know that guy. So you
No.
just double check things. Don't take things for granted. And even people that have a good reputation, that are known for being, like experts in their field, there's also this, just double check. Because as soon as you're going to accept that somebody is good at what he does and is trustworthy, so you can be fooled easily. But double check always, double check. This is also in the Torah. Just don't take anybody like,
All double, triple check, do your research, and also, question. This is a world where you have to question things, and if
Of
you don't
course.
question, you get lost,
It's-
and you start losing, and you actually, once you don't question, you also fall in spirituality, because God made everything available, and now everything is more available for everybody. Now information is right there for you. And a touch of a button, you can basically learn everything. And now with AI, you can even learn more. It's just it's
faster.
crazy where it's going. So it's your duty.
It's
your
even
duty.
the name Torah, the word Torah in Hebrew. People say, oh, it means the law. Okay. But when you look at the word Torah, it's close to the word Latur in Hebrew, which is to explore. Like when we send the spies, to explore the land, it says Latur et haaretz. That means to explore,
Torah is
to
Orah.
check it out.
To teach. Yeah.
Yeah, you understand?
Orah.
So the word Torah, actually, I will believe that we can say that it's law, but more like science, or more like exploration. Just check things out. Don't accept what you read, like literally. Just go and dig deeper, and you're going to see that there are treasures in between the words, if you go deep. And this is what you have to understand. This is what the Torah is made for. It's like a sharp language book. How can I put that in words? It's like it's made of books, made out of very, very sharp language to sharpen your mind. This is what it's made out of. It's made to make you smart, to make you great, to make you grow, to make you evolve into intelligence, into whatever is good. You understand? So this is what you
Mhm.
understand. Need to know about Torah. It's not just like a religious book. It's the religion is just like it was more like a way to protect all this knowledge, to protect it, through time, and which our rabbis succeeded in doing, because here we are talking about these books, and these books are not altered. They were not altered, and they're exactly the same as they were written, in the beginning. So, but
Letter for
so this is the point about the Torah. It's about exploration. It's about knowledge. It's about investigating. It's this is investigating the truth, of course, and and automatically detecting the lies. Because if you know what the truth is, automatically you'll be able to detect the lies. So
Yep.
what else would you like to add? Because it's been like a little while already. What else
Yes.
about the food? About all this, about all that. That idea of, like, that actually what's good for us comes from the animal world, and that meats and milk and eggs and whatever comes from animal fat is actually good for us, good for our body, and good for our health. So you want to add up something about all this?
First of all, there's also centralized ranching, which is also something that because the animals could be either grass fed or grain fed, right? So there's two different types of animals. Also, unfortunately, there is commercial ranching, and we don't really know. In the United States, I think they tell you which is grass fed and which is not grass fed, or which is regular. And just so you know that grass fed animals are better for you. They're more superior meat. I'm not saying that you're going to get by without a grass-fed animals, but this is something that is also trying to be, or they want to centralize that too. Let's put it that way. But it's something that you can't really put a handle on, because once you grow animals, you can't really know what the weight is going to be, or if you plant a square kilometer of something, about how much crop you're going to get. But this is something for vegans out there that think that when they're not eating animals, more animals stay alive. Just to let them know that once the plow is on the field, it takes everything. It takes snakes, it takes rats, it takes lots of bugs, lots of. Once you plow the land, a lot of animals died to get you that to get that plant to your door. So something has to die for you to live, and commercial agriculture kills a lot more animal life form than ranching and actually growing
That's important.
chickens.
That's an important
Yeah,
point.
or sheep or
But
goats
but most importantly, it kills us somehow. Okay, so people that are vegans, that they say, okay, we don't want to kill the animals, poor things, but somehow, to what price are you willing to pay for that? If it's true that plants somehow are bad for you, so that's the price you're ready to pay for, not slaughtering one animal. Out of one cow, how many people can eat? Like, a lot of people can eat out of one single cow, but this is one life form. You understand? So of course, slaughtering is not an easy thing to do. I don't like blood, also. I don't like to see this, but my priority for me is my health, the mankind, before animal, kind, or the plants or
no,
whatever
but I
else.
think I think before commercial agriculture started, people didn't really think about slaughtering the animal.
Yeah.
They thought about the nice pot of food that they're gonna make.
Yeah.
You know, and I think the whole idea of actually feeling mercy for the animal is a new thing. It's a new concept. It's a you know, but you know, you've got to learn mercy. It's something that you got to learn.
But
It's something that you can do.
the,
And being merciful is something that you got to develop. It's something that it's like a it's a straight it's something that you got to think about, and that's why I think Judaism also, when it slays the animal, it makes sure that there's no
suffering.
pain whatsoever.
Exactly. That's the point. You can kill an animal, you can slaughter it without him to suffer, without the animal
Yeah.
to suffer. And that's the whole point in Judaism. When you slaughter, you know, the blade is so sharp that the animal don't even feel it. It just, like, you know, passes out like this. It doesn't even know, you know, usually it doesn't even smell the blood, you know. It's not like today in slaughterhouses. So the animals is like, you know, usually being slaughtered on the outside in nature, not into like a factory of death of blood, because the animal smells the blood and can panic. And also it's good for us because it is said that if the animal is scared, it can produce, at least I don't know, you might know better than me, it can produce some chemicals inside his body that are not good, that are going into his flesh. That's what I heard a long time ago. So it's very important for Judah
There's
in
some
Judaism that
adrenaline before the slaughter. There's some adrenaline,
yeah, of
and that
course,
adrenaline goes into the blood,
of
and
course,
it's toxic. Yeah.
of course, you can kill an animal without him suffering. Okay,
Yeah.
but not today. Today, when you look at the food industry, they're making like an holocaust of you know, with the animals. It's like they killing them in such a way. They kill them in such a way that it's like it's a crime. How they do that? They have no mercy at all. No mercy at all, which is not the case in Judaism. But even in Judaism today, we also suffer from all these things because, you know, there's food industry. You have to feed more and more people. So we also have like issues. But actually, in the Torah, it's like this. The thing is that it's forbidden for the animal to suffer. If the animal suffers, or if the animal feels death, it's called taref. That means the animal is not good for consumption. We throw the animal away. We cannot eat it. You understand? So that's important.
I wanted to add that basically centralized big food, big pharma, big medicine, all that is something that you should really look into and study well. And think about how there are brilliant people, very smart scientists that actually make processed food for you to make you addicted to it, because addiction to sugar, they say, is 8 times stronger than methamphetamine. It's that addictive. It's such an addictive substance that you want it, and we all know that there's a lot of addictive substances that are not really good for you. So and it's toxic, and that's what happens to people with Alzheimer's, that they want more sugar because the brain thinks that if it's going to have more sugar, it can get access to that memory that it doesn't have access to.
How about the kids?
It makes the problem even worse.
But the kids, we say that the sugar is the alcohol for the kids. You know, kids.
They go crazy for sugar.
Yeah,
sure, go crazy for sugar, and obviously, the food industry knows that, and they say, "Oh, let's start them while they're young."
Of course,
you know, and then we have diabetic teens.
Yeah,
and then when you look at basically when you look at industrialized food was basically started around 100 years ago, and if you look at the sickness and heart disease and all the different deaths from stroke or whatever, if you look at that curve and you look at the curve of the sales of processed food, then then you see a correlation. You see a clear correlation between processed food and the rate of death from different types of disease caused by sugar, and mostly plant animals, because that is the most processed stuff.